This is Monday Motorsport with Lester Forbes on Motorsport Radio.
Hello and welcome to Monday Motorsport. My name is Lester, this is Motorsport Radio, and we are live tonight. Yes, we try and do this every single Monday, live at 8, and we are streaming right now live on our Facebook page and on Twitter as well, which is at M-Sport Radio, and it's Motorsport Radio on Facebook as well. Coming up on tonight's programme, we have got a big British GT preview of the weekend. They're at Spa this weekend in Belgium, and we'll be previewing the biggest grid of the year so far with our GT expert Dan Marr, who'll be here along in just a moment. Plus, we've got a big Formula 3 preview of the weekend as well. Second half of the championship now in British F3, and the championship really hotting up on tonight's programme. We've got some absolutely pretty good, pretty decent interviews, I would say, because
is Monday Motorsport with Lester Forbes on Motorsport Radio.
The last half of the season, I'll hit more of a stride, and a lot of the tracks I think that we're going to in the last half of the season will, I guess, suit my driving style a little bit more. Now that I feel more than comfortable with the car and the team, I think I might even have a go at the championship and try and give Edam a run for his money as well.
Do you recognise, do you notice the amount of scrutiny, the spotlight on your career already?
Yeah, I do, obviously, but I don't think that affects me at all. I try to keep away from that and just keep it real as much as I can and not let it bother me, really. I'm just here to do what I love to do, really, nothing else, you know.
Milan didn't have a good car around there because in the pre-season they were much quicker than us in Spa. We've got a proper challenge on our hands, so we'll see. I'm sure it'll be good for you to watch and comment on.
I showed up and everyone was like, wow, it's James Pull, oh my god, British F3 driver.
If push comes to shove then, James, would you?
This is Monday Motorsport with Lester Forbes on Motorsport Radio.
Yeah, all those interviews coming up here on tonight's programme. My name is Lester, this is Monday Motorsport, and this is Motorsport Radio. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you've just tuned in live to us, we try and do this every single Monday, barring schedule clashes, and we always try and stream it live as well. And just to prove we're live, we'll even read out your messages tonight live as well, because we just want to prove that we're live more than anything else. And also we want to get your reactions to some comments that some of the drivers made in their interviews. James Pull will put the each individual interview that we put up tonight on our website, motorsport.radio, on the website just after midnight, I think, earlier, but by the time you wake up in the morning anyway, just so that you can, because they're quite lengthy interviews, about 20 minutes each. And Enam Ahmed, the championship leader, says some very, very interesting things that you probably should listen out for. He talks about perhaps driver development, whether it's right or wrong for 15-year-olds to be racing in the British F4 Championship. And my interview with James Pull got a little weird. More on that later. But first, it's the British GT Championship. And please welcome our panellist for tonight. It's Dan Marr. Hi, Dan.
Good evening. Thank you very much, Lester.
So, how are you? Good to see you again.
Yes, thank you. It's good to be back. I'm good, thank you. And I'll tell you what, you do not want to miss that James Pull interview. I've seen a preview of it. It is pretty good.
What I've actually done is I've edited out a certain portion of that interview, and I'll put the full pull up on our website, motorsport.radio. So yeah, there's it got a little weird, the interview, but I'll put that bit on our website as a separate thing, as I say. But everything else, Manuel Maldonado is coming on the show, Enam Ahmed, Cameron Daz as well, and James Pull. And the reason for those is because James Pull, Cameron Daz and Enam Ahmed are all 1, 2, 3 in the championship. And I think Cameron is sharing third place with Toby Sowery as well in the championship. Coming into Spa, It's obviously going to get very, very spicy. And Maldonado is there because I think he deserves a bit of a fair hearing, to be honest. I think Maldonado usually ends up getting the too much banter aimed at him. We talk about that as well. And the W2F1 meme. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, before all of that, which is coming up later, it's over to the British GT Championship, and the entry list has just been revealed, and I have it in front of me here. And Dan, we've got a massive grid, and there's been some one-off entries being drip-fed over the weekend.
Yes, 34 cars for the 2 1-hour races at Spa this weekend, round 7 and 8 of the British GT Championship. After this, there's only 2 rounds left. Amazing. Isn't that mad? We're only really into July, and already we're three quarters of the way through the season. We'll only have Brands Hatch and Donington Park after this. So it's a long way. Of course, this is before the summer break in effect, because of course at the end of the month it's the Spa 24 hours. So that's why we've had some extra entries for this weekend. Barwell Motorsport bring another Lamborghini Huracan GT3 with Blancpain regulars, of course, Adam Amstruts and Patrick Kajala in the Pro-Am category. In the number 77, they're going to be there. But we see 14 GT3 cars and a massive 20 GT4s. Wow. Big grids, going to be some great racing.
Certainly will be, and the massive list of entries, as you say, and it really sort of it's kind of shocking to think that actually, we only have a couple more rounds left of the entire year. Because in my mind, we've only just started. Really, we've only just kind of got up and running. But anyway, but yes, it's going to be who are the new people again? The Audi factory squad. WRT enters British GT, like you said, Dan, just to get a bit of extra practice in for the 24 hours. Plus, the Maserati set for a comeback. Yep. With
Team Ebor. Oh, sorry. I was going to say Team Ebor do return to the championship finally, and Matty Graham, lo and behold, is in that car. So after starting off the season with McLaren, he's now gone back to Ebor GT with Charlie Fagg alongside him. Charlie runs in the GT4 series, one of the SRO GT4 series, the European version. I think the Southern Cup or what? No, is it the Northern Cup or the Southern Cup? One of them. Anyway,
and he also is a part-time grid boy as well.
Yes, I remember that one. But yes, he runs obviously with Sean Walkinshaw Racing, as in that Sean Walkinshaw, as in obviously the son of Tom, in a Nissan 370Z. So that's an interesting one in GT4. Just looking at other entries in GT4, the big changes, we've got Delahaye Racing Team bring another Porsche Cayman GT4 Club Sport MR, just to really confuse me, with Alexandre Viron and Emmanuel Oegaval in the AM category. That's the pairing of them. Into Racing, we finally got the number 14 back, so Into Racing bring 2 McLarens to the table, but Jacques Doiver is in the AM class, all on his own. He's the only one driver entrant in the AM class for the first time this season, I believe. And that's going to be an interesting one, to do 2 1-hour races in fairly compact nature around Spa, all on your own. That's going to be quite a big one. But the other sort of changes into racing have also brought Jesse Antilla into the number 29 alongside Marcus Hogarth, who's now had Matty Graham and Ewan Mackay in that car. So the into racing guys trying to get some good entries in that car. Looking at AutoAid RCIB Insurance Racing, the number 36... we haven't even got Michael Caine on the grid anymore. We've got Adam Hadfielder lining up alongside Benjamin Wallace. And then in the 63, we've got Jake Giddings and Matt Chapman in that car. GT4's not really changed in the grand scheme of things. What has changed, though, as you mentioned earlier, GT3. That's quite a lot. As you say, Vincent Voss's team, Team WRT, come to Spa for the British GT for the first time. We see Stuart Leonard in that car. He is familiar a bit with British GT, but Alan Furte is definitely a new guy to British GT, who's had an interesting little career. Has Furte, which includes spells in DTM, World Sports Car Championship, BPR, as in the original Stefan Vettel Racing, FIA GT1 Super GT. He's in the VW prototypes and the GT4 European Series Southern Cup. Just to list a few, they really roll off the tongue, his accolades. But of course, we also see Kessel Racing, as in the Ferrari. We get a second Ferrari onto the grid with that's Duncan Cameron and Matt Griffin there as well as normal. But the number 39, Carlo Van Dam joins the grid, and Pitty, a Thai racer, is going to be in his surname.
Say his proper name.
I have tried saying his surname, and I'm not really going to do it. Have you? I've been practicing.
I'll have a go, because I don't mind looking foolish or sounding foolish. So yes, in the number 39 car at Kessel Racing, reading this like off grandstand, in the Ferrari, Pitty Birombardi. Yay! And Carlo Van Dam.
Yeah, Birombardi, I believe.
Is Carlo any relation to Jean-Claude? Probably not.
No, I'm not sure. You might. You'll have to ask him, because
I could.
at the moment.
I probably wouldn't.
No, and then we've also got, in terms of another couple of one-off entries, we've not got any Genetas on the grid. It was a one-off deal, as we mentioned last time, for Centuries. Alexander Sherpa to come back into the Geneta GT3 G55. We also see another Mercedes with Cornely Racing, which has got Kenneth Hayer and Patrick Asaheimer in the car, which is an all-silver lineup, which brings our all-silver lineups in GT3 to 2. But there are little changes here and there, of course. A lot of teams, including the likes of Sam Tordoff, you're going to see Team Parker Racing going to be using this as a test bed effectively for their 24 hours of Spa setups, which is later on in the month. It's going to be a big race, of course. In that, we heard Bentley are going to be bringing an extra car with Team Abt. So they're going to be pushing up for people like Rick Parfitt and Seb Morris to get some good data. Ian Logie, Callum McLeod as well, also going to be trying to get some good runs. But in terms of a championship tilt, this is going to be big at Spa. And as we see, it's usually you either have a really good run, do one in both races, or you bin it on lap 1 in the first race and don't get anywhere for the rest of the day.
And big hello to everyone who's just tuned in from the various Facebook groups that we might have been kind of spamming, including second place driver from Silverstone, James Littlejohn. Hello there. I am reliably informed that he's tuned in right now, along with he's probably along with his teammate Jack Mitchell, who you spoke to at Snetterton as well, Dan. So that's the last time we had Jack on the show. But interestingly as well, I didn't quite have time to go back through the archives and get this little piece from the past show that we did, I think previewing Silverstone. But somewhere in my mind, I think I remember actually making a prediction about who was going to win at Silverstone. Do you remember, Dan? Oh, Dan, I can't hear you. Why you turn yourself off? Oh, no, Dan. Dan's gone. We can see him, but we can't hear him. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, he's turned himself off. I don't know where he's gone. But basically, anyway, what I did is I brilliantly predicted that when talking about and defending Seb Morris's record this season, let's say. Can't put it any more politely than that, because he had been in a couple of scrapes up until the last round anyway, and I confidently predicted that he and Rick Parfitt Jr. And Team Parker Racing would thunder away and take the win at Silverstone, and that's exactly what they did. So yeah, that goes on the top of yet another fantastic prediction that I made, which adds to as well the the Indy 500 prediction as well that I made. Dan, are you back with us? He's not back with us. Can't hear him. Can't hear a word he's saying. We can't hear him, can we, folks? We can see his mouth moving, but technical issues and some such and alike. Oh, he's gone now. But anyway, yeah, Dan says the British GT this weekend is going to be absolutely fantastic because it's a massive grid. Now, it won't be, if you're looking for a live stream of it, it won't be live in the same way that it's been live every round this season and will continue to be for the remaining rounds. It's just this round at Spa. It's not going to be on Frontrunner TV. Now, there's been a bit of a development, if you're not aware, I'm sure you already are, but on Frontrunner, well, it's no longer on Frontrunner, on Freeview anyway, they have ceased broadcasting on Freeview, I would say for the time being, in more hope that they return rather than because I have some secret knowledge about anything else. But yeah, no Frontrunner on Freeview. It is still available on Sky and wherever else, Frontrunner stream or broadcast or whatever. I don't know if they do on Virgin. I'm not too sure. But yeah, Frontrunner is going to be off for the time being on Freeview anyway. However, this weekend, I found a link which I'm reliably informed will be streaming live sort of action. Sort of stuff, and if it works, I will I'll embed that in our website, motorsport.radio, and you can enjoy it. It won't be the same quality. It's nothing to do with me. I believe it's the local circuits stream of it, and apparently they are going to be finding a stream or putting a stream up somewhere. So I guess something is better than nothing, perhaps. That's if it works. And if it does work, like as I said, we'll find an embed and we'll sort of restream that on our website, motorsport.radio. Dan, welcome back.
Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Slight computer-related issues. Don't wave your head at me. There's not a lot I can do. Anyway, as I've always been taught, always make light of the problem and continue talking about it. So, this would be the perfect opportunity for a Danumentary because they're not there. But the issue is that okay, let's because Lester knows where I'm going with this story, right? My passport application is not, in fact, in the post or in the passport office. It's currently sat to my right on my desk. So that's why Dan's not there.
And has been for about 4 months. I think someone did mention
there were not 4 months. It's a bit unfair. There were some speculations in the paddock that an illegal immigration attempt was to be made with a certain Mr. Dianmar. I can assure you that I will not be going to Spa-Francorchamps, but I'll be sat at work on my computer sending emails, as I do all day. But I'm actually wholly devastated that I'm not going. And last year's stream of the British GT races at Spa was...
Be nice. Was it online?
I think it was online.
That's all we need to know, really.
And it was more reliable than the web stream for the WBC Le Mans just 2 weeks ago, of which they refused me a refund.
Oh, by the way, yeah, the stream of whatever quality for this weekend at Spa is free as well. So
it's perfectly free, which is good.
Unlike the WEC stream.
No, but anyway, the two main issues I had was...
Go on, list your issues.
It was in... Right, okay. Well, first of all, it was mostly in French, which, as someone who, for example, doesn't speak French, is a bit of an issue. But
how inconsiderate of those French. Oh, was it? I think it might have been Flemish.
Good, right, stop, Mr. Xenophobic. There was the occasional, a bit like Le Mans back in the 60s and the 70s and beyond, and earlier than that rather, is they would have most of the circuits commentary would be in French, and every hour there'd be a 5-minute bulletin in English. So there would be a short, every couple of laps, update in English as to the race order, and that was about it. The only other issue I had is there were there were 3 cameras, one of which was pointed going through Eau Rouge, one of which was going through Blochemont, and the other was sat of the presenters in the not even commentary booth. It was effectively a pit garage with 3 blokes standing around a podium. But again, as you say, A stream is better than no stream, and I've quite enjoyed the coverage that British GT's enjoyed this year. The Freeview thing with Frontrunner is a bit of a funny one. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there, and it transpired only recently that Frontrunner actually has 2 channels.
Yes, they do. Well, no,
Which
they kind of always have had 2 channels, but it transpired the fact that we've only just found out about it because they're not very.
Yeah, we only just found out about it because it turned out the British GT coverage was on Frontrunner 2. But with it's an exploratory year for television coverage
So
of
kind of
British
you to
GT.
say.
It is. It's an explorative year. I've enjoyed some of the coverage I've done this year. It's been good to see all the trackside stuff finally covered properly, and you can actually watch it in full online at work, wherever. That's what I've really enjoyed, and I think that's what I'm looking forward to going forwards. And I think learning what they're doing this year, they'll get into the grooves, they'll get into the habits, and they'll really get to understand, especially for next year, if they do continue with it on the television deals somewhere else, maybe still on Frontrunner, or even just purely online and a Blancpain, as they do at the moment. I've enjoyed the coverage, and although it's a shame that we won't be able to see Spa in such well covered coverage, motorsport.radio will be there with that man, Mr. Forbes, right at the helm.
Hi.
Which is quite scary because he confessed to not enjoying GTs.
When did I? I've never said that this year.
You've said that to me several times. Anyway, yeah, he does quite like F3s though, and that's going to be an interesting one around Spa. I'll tell you that. It's going to be an interesting race around Spa. Can Iman Ahmed actually make a good, solid weekend and finally bag enough points? I think he could, but can't.
Are you asking yourself questions now? What's going on?
Well, this is what happens. You're not pulling me in. Anyway, the point I'm making is, I don't know, I've lost a point. But British GT is going to be good this weekend. Actually, this is what we need to find out, is who's my replacement for Spa? Because you need someone good in for Spa.
Hello?
Apart from you. Because normally there's myself and Mr. Nick Smith, who does all the wrap-ups and stuff after the racing. Who's going to be alongside...
Well, we will see. We will. I'm sure I'll be able to drag someone in front of a camera, and make them talk. Just prop them so talk.
Oh yes, as I normally do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It will be interesting. We will be here next week, barring any immigration issues.
What do you mean immigration issues? I'm saying here.
We will be here reporting back as to my findings from Spa. It is. However, not that you care at all, but my first ever trip to Spa, and Belgium for that matter. So yeah, that should be interesting, driving to Belgium.
Through the Eurotunnel.
Yeah.
We're not driving through the Eurotunnel.
I'd
be concerned if you were.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, British GT, and I suppose then, Dan, I'm just having a quick look at the last round of Silverstone, which we did miss because we were working elsewhere. But I'll tell you once again that I did correctly predict the score, Seb. Yes, I'm to blame for that. You're welcome. You can have that one on me.
It's all right, because I keep giving him bad luck. If you notice, every single time I've interviewed him so far, they've really struggled. We spoke to them at Autumn Park, and then in race 2, he, let's be honest, had a slight altercation which involved 2 Bentleys getting exponentially closer than you would ever hope they did. And that's enough on that matter, and that happened.
Are you going to go through the roll call of misery for the season?
And then Snetterton's... to be fair... Snetterton's issue was more because they couldn't see, Seb couldn't see the Ferrari because it was in the blind spot. But when I've spoken to them after the race, they've always done quite well. Because whenever I've interviewed Rick Parfitt, both last year and this year, he's won. So maybe I should just go and interview Seb more, and Seb and Rick more. But that's going to be an interesting one. The Bentley is going to be a very strong car around Spa. And of course, they're going to be gunning, as they did last year, for overall rights in the GT3 fields, not only in British GT, but also in, the 24-hour race. The Mercedes was very strong in qualifying last year, but we all know why that was. They weren't as strong in the race, because we know why that was. But the other contender was the BMW, and of course they're not there. So I think secretly Team Parker Racing might just be rubbing their hands a little bit, thinking this is really going to suit us.
And predictions for you this weekend? 2 races instead of the original planned 1 at Spa, but which is good.
Which is why we figured out. Yes, it's good because it gives us an extra round of the championship, and of course, I found out why we get the 1 hour races instead of lots of 2 hour races.
Because 2's better than 1.
Because there aren't enough pit garages. So when we go to Autumn Park, we can't fit the entire field into the pit garages because there's just too many of them. We can't do it at Snetterton either, but we can at Brands Hatch, we can at Silverstone, we can at Donington, so that there is enough space to do it. The issue was at Spa, originally it was going to be a 2 hour race, but because of the Fun Cup seconding another couple of garages, they just ran out of space, so they couldn't do it. So 2 1 hour races where it's easier because you don't have to refuel, just makes life exponentially easier. And like I say, I'm suspecting it's going to be either a very good day for the Bentleys, or, as I've said, the contenders normally either go on to win quite dominantly, or there's a slight altercation coming through or between La Source and Eau Rouge, which normally takes out the race leaders. So, touch wood, the Bentleys stay out, or stay in the race rather. The Lamborghinis are going to be good, but I'm just wondering where Patrick Kujala is going to be alongside with his teammate Adam Amstrut. They're going to be a real cork in the bottle, I expect. They've been really quick in Blancpain this year, and I can see it continuing, and I can see them doing very well against the British GT regulars.
Okay. I suppose since I asked you about a prediction, it's only fair that I make a prediction as well. Now
frame this, ladies and gentlemen, because
it's going to be this one's going to be wrong.
Going to give us.
See, I can even predict when I'm going to be wrong, so that just covers all
don't
bases.
Make it then.
I'm just
correct.
covering all bases, just so I mean I can edit that bit out. You see when I show you next time when I'm right.
Okay. Yeah.
GT3.
I didn't even do GT4. I just don't know GT4. We don't know who's going to win. Let's just leave it at that.
Possibly. For some reason, I just think Matt Griffin, Duncan Cameron. And I don't even know why.
So, okay, is that just it? Or have you got, like, multiple predictions?
That's it.
Okay, so we'll come back to this. So when you see this clip again...
We should have a scoreboard, a running scoreboard.
In a week's time, when we see that Duncan Cameron and Matt Griffin win, and we're going to see Lester Forbes go in like this, literally smiling from ear to ear like a bloody Cheshire cat, because he's done it again. We'll just remember this moment.
Exactly. Yes.
And if I'm right, well then something is desperately wrong.
So, tell us your predictions if you're tuned in live to us. Who do you think is going to win the 2 British GT races this weekend at Spa? We want to know. Get in touch with us, because we are live right now, unless you're watching this not live, in which case we were live.
Just comment underneath.
Yeah, comment underneath and tell us. I'll certainly comment underneath the video as well, maybe on Saturday after the races are over, just to see if I was right or wrong.
We'll just get
if I was spectacularly wrong, I'll just delete the whole thing and we'll all carry on our business. Anyway, right, so British GT happening this weekend. There is going to be a stream, we think, of it. I will repost the link to it on our website, motorsport.radio. I'll try and even embed the video and the live timing on there for ease of use. However, it's not going to be on Front Run. It's not on the usual YouTube and Facebook places, but it is on one particular website, which is too complicated to read, and I'll just put it on our website, motorsport.radio. Right, my name's Lester. Dan Marr is here, and this is Monday Motorsport on Motorsport Radio. And still to come, we have got loads of interviews from the British F3 Championship, and next we've got a little update on some breaking Formula 1 news.
I have a logo, I have a name. My name is Dan.
Hi, this is Nick Hamilton, and this is Motorsport Radio.
Hi, I'm Callan O'Keefe, and this is Motorsport Radio.
This is Monday Motorsport with Lester Forbes on Motorsport Radio.
The last half of the season, I'll hit more of a stride, and a lot of the tracks I think that we're going to in the last half of the season will, I guess, suit my driving style a little bit more. Now that I feel more than comfortable with the car and the team, I think I might even have a go at the championship and try and give Enam a run for his money as well.
Do you recognise?
Yeah.
Do you notice the amount of scrutiny, the spotlight on your career already?
Yeah, I do obviously, but I don't think that affects me at all. I try to keep away from that and just like keep it real as much as I can and not let it bother me really. I'm just here to do what I love to do, really, nothing else, you know.
Plan and have a good car around there, because in the pre-season they were much quicker than us in Spa. We've got a proper challenge on our hands, so we'll see. I'm sure it'll be good for you to watch and comment on.
I showed up and everyone was like, wow, it's James Pull, oh my god, British F3 driver.
If push comes to shove then, James, would you?
This is Monday Motorsport with Lester Forbes on Motorsport Radio.
Yeah, all still to come here on the programme. It's Monday Motorsports on Motorsport Radio. My name is Lester. Hello, and thank you very much for tuning in. Dan Ma is still here with us on the programme. We've not kicked him off yet, but all those interviews with Manuel Maldonado and James Pull, Enat Ahmed, and Cameron Daz coming up a bit later. We did try and get a few other drivers on, but owing to various weekend schedule clashes, like having a life and stuff, they weren't able to come on.
What's one of those?
Yeah, I know. It's awkward when people are too busy for you. You're like, hey, can you come on and do an interview? They're like, no, I'm kind of doing racing driver glamorous stuff, which, you know. I'm like, okay, fine.
That's mentioned.
Yeah.
One of the things, isn't it?
What? Oh,
one of the interviews.
We will get if you missed the earlier part of the show, by the way, the interview with James Pull gets slightly weird.
But let's not spoil it too much.
But yeah, I'll tease you with that, and I won't play it in full, but I'll lead you to our website, motorsport.radio, where you can watch the full Pull later this evening, I suppose. Anyway, some big...
Did James approve that one?
He... what do you mean approved it? What, he did an interview with me.
The bad puns.
Oh. Well, I suppose it's better than the Pulminator. I was testing that pun out, but didn't. Anyway, right. So some breaking Formula One news. Breaking in Formula One. Big breaking news and stuff. Did we ever think that Vettel was going to get disqualified, really, honestly? Because the FIA were looking into how much of a bad boy Vettel had been. And it turns out that he kind of wasn't, really. A Formula One governing body, the FIA, not the teams, has declared that they're going to take no further action over Sebastian Vettel's horrific clash, some say, with Hamilton at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It follows a meeting with Vettel on Monday, today, in which the Ferrari driver admitted responsibility and apologised for the incident. So, because he's apologised, that's that, and everyone can just move on, I suppose, although he didn't do it publicly. Not to my knowledge. I've not seen a video of him saying sorry or admitting anything. The FIA statement, to quote, not in full because it's a bit wordy, but yada yada yada, blah blah blah, no further action is basically what it says. So Dan, do you have any views on this?
As a person who the first laps of the 2017 season I watched in Formula One were literally 5 laps of the Monaco Grand Prix, where I had the privilege of John Watson ripping not only into Jenson Button but also into Marcus Ericsson. Monaco. And then I watched the second half of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix after the red flag, when the whole thing happened. Saw the replay and thought, what on earth's going on here? And I thought it was a bit naughty. Personally, I saw when I saw the incident the first time, I thought Hamilton didn't accelerate, but didn't brake. It was sort of one of those ones where he sort of lurched, and of course Vettel got a bit stuck, which is understandable. That one's fine. But then to accelerate and then tap into the side of another car, I don't personally. Whilst it was maybe intentional, it maybe wasn't intentional.
It maybe wasn't not intentional as well, perhaps, or maybe was actually not, but not really, not intentional.
Anyway, the point is, what happened. We don't need to start going on here and commenting on about it. The FIA have said, look, we've given a fair penalty. We've done what we had to do. Let's leave it like that and let's move on. But this is only going to make the seemingly bitter rivalry between the two over the last few seasons become even more furious. And I think this season has been an absolutely fantastic one, and what a great battle we're looking forward to. Hamilton's really on the back foot now, so I suppose he's got to be feeling the pressure a bit coming into the Austrian Grand Prix this weekend.
Perhaps he did try to play those mind games with Nico Rosberg for a few years, and I always knew that Nico Rosberg was mentally stronger than Hamilton, and many a time that was proved and borne out to be the case, as Hamilton just could not get the mental edge over Rosberg, and I think he's trying to apply this. I don't think he bothers too much with Bottas, because Bottas, it seems like he just doesn't care, but
no, I don't think he does.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously when you get to a certain point in F1, this point, you do with your title rivals, and it's something that I'll go into with the F3 interviews in a moment with James Pull, and you saw me teasing earlier, or heard me teasing it earlier, about if push came to shove, and would you for the championship? You'll have to wait and see, hear what they say about that. Yeah. So anyway, but Dan Ticktum at the time, on the day of the of Crashgate 2.0, I suppose
the latest Crashgate.
Not his Crashgate, but Dan Ticktum weighed into the debate at the time, as did I as well. He said on his Facebook page, "Where's Vettel's 2-year ban?" He bleated. No, he didn't bleat, he just said. He said, admittedly, this is Dan Ticktum, quote from him on his Facebook page, says, admittedly, my incident 2 years ago was, in many respects, worse, but I have to say at this point, I feel utterly disgusted.
Black and white worse?
He says he feels...
It was black and white worse?
Yeah, that's what he says.
He doesn't say in respect, he says in some respects. That's not black and white. When you drive
he says it was worse.
3/4 of a way around a lap at full racing speed under the safety car.
You're arguing the same thing.
30-odd yellow flag zones to then charge into the side of another driver deliberately. A 2-year ban, in fact, no, a 1-year ban and a 2nd year suspended is pretty light considering. What I think happened with Vettel and Hamilton, yes, it was a bit of a mistake, but no one got hurt. It was heat of the moment, which I understand isn't a good enough, and it's not a fair enough judiciary, and it's not a fair excuse. But what happened with Vettel and Hamilton didn't really matter. It was a small collision, which didn't really put anyone at risk. It was a light touch. When you go 3/4 of a lap, around 3/4 of a lap, under the safety car, passing numerous yellow flag zones at full racing speed, charging to the side of another driver, whilst their marshal's working on circuit, that is a justifiable ban. There's a difference between what happened between these two people. The safety car was coming in, the circuit had been effectively unneutralised. It was safe to go racing, which is why they were getting ready to go back racing. There's a clear difference.
Yeah, no one's disagreeing with you.
So, and this is what frustrates me sometimes. I saw all the comments on Twitter, people going, oh yeah, but Dan Ticktum got a ban for hitting someone deliberately under the safety car and this and that. We haven't proven that Vettel did it deliberately. It could have happened deliberately. It could have just been an accident. Whatever's happened,
well, he's apologised for it.
He's apologised for it. Exactly, he's apologised for it.
He's admitted responsibility.
And we've moved on. Yeah. So, we can move on.
Albeit in the face of a lengthy ban, perhaps.
Yes, potentially. But let's just look at that, okay? That's all been sorted by the FIA courts, and they've gone back to it, they've reviewed it, he's put his hands up and said, yes, I'm sorry. He shouldn't have done it. He publicly admitted he shouldn't have done it. And they were more likely to make an example out of him by bringing him up to this full judiciary, even though it was a relatively small piece of contact. I know why you're giggling, because it's amusing at the fact that...
I'm just reading through a couple of comments that that various people posted at the time on the day, whilst still wrapped up in the emotions of this incident.
Yeah.
And interestingly, Enam Ahmed said, well, a quote from him on Dan Ticktum's Facebook page says, if Dan Ticktum was in Vettel's position, Hamilton would have been wrapped around a tree.
Wow. Well, I'm not being funny, but that does say it all, doesn't it? Because that's, with the greatest of respect, that is what's happened. And I'm glad to see that Dan's gone out there. He's starting to do really well back in Formula Renault.
He's just won his
2.0.
first race, I think.
Is that in NEC, or is that...
No, the Euro thingy.
Full one.
Yeah, I've not actually seen it yet, but he did win, because I get the email updates and stuff. So well done to Dan, and he's still one of our ones to watch on motorsport.radio.
Yeah, he served his penalty, and that's fair due. He's done his time, he's learnt from his mistake, and that's what we do, because we all make mistakes at the best of time. Vettel made a poor judgment of error, a poor judgment, and it was a error on his behalf. He's admitted his responsibility, he's moved on from it, and he's just said, look, we've solved this, can we just move on, get back to the racing? But there's a clear difference between what Vettel did with Hamilton and what Ticktum did in Formula 4 at Silverstone. So, for those exacerbating what happened under the safety car, I don't see any different from the touring cars. From our touring cars, from British touring cars, we see it under green flag conditions, we see it in yellow flag conditions under certain circumstances, so...
Well, a couple of people have understandably chipped in with their comments, and Shaka Anderson, hello there, and apologies if I ruined the pronunciation of your name. Going back to I'll get to your comment in a moment, because that's regarding GTs. But David Christie, Knockhill commentator, says, LOL, it could have been an accident. And he also says, pretty sure he pulled up alongside and turned into the car beside him, as we do know that's what happened, and Vettel's admitted that. And going back to GT, Shaka says, I think Barwell Lambo will be up there. They're having a great season so far. And also chiming in with the live coverage has been brilliant this year. I think most of the GT championships are going the way of YouTube broadcasting. I hope so too, as well, because it's as good as TV is. It's a bit restrictive, and as good as it is having your race shown on ITV and stuff, and it's great for the sponsors, for the rest of the world who are not sponsors or drivers, it's a bit restrictive, because only on ITV, I think, on the ITV player, talking about F3 highlights here, you've only got 30 days to watch something that you missed before it's vanished off the ITV hub, I think.
Yeah.
And then you will never ever see it unless you actually pay the championship money, or pay Hayfisher money to actually have them send you a copy of the race, basically.
Yeah. This is what's sad. Sorry.
Go on, carry on.
This is what I do apologise for cutting in, but the two things I think are good is that GT World on the YouTube channel, for example, or go on to motorsport.radio, where we have a large collection of YouTube broadcasts where you can go back and watch the championship race footage. The good thing with those is we've got a long-term archive in which to go back and watch a full race as it was broadcast in the same way. I've not watched a lot of, or in fact any, of the very first Blancpain Championship season, the Endurance Series Championship back in 2011, when I had GT4 cars alongside GT3s. Now, I want to go back and watch some of that. I want to go and watch FIA GT, the beginnings of the Blancpain Sprint Series. You can go and watch all of that. Formula 1's great. British Touring Cars are great because you've got these big DVDs and Blu-rays, Le Mans 2, and certain rally championships, BSB, all that. You get DVDs and Blu-rays of the season cut up and put into highlights packages. I like that, but we don't have that for the British GT. We don't have that for the Ginetta racing, for Formula 3, for years and years and years. We've not had any of that. And this is what I find sad, is we don't have these archives. And a fan like me, because fundamentally I'm a fan, just a rather loud-mouthed and somewhat informative one. Please do dispute that in the comments, because I would like to know your opinions on that. But fundamentally, we don't have these archives where we used to get them, which is, I think, is a real shame, because a lot of people like myself, I would happily invest money into a good quality archive, which is what the likes of Motor Trend On Demand try to do, but then you can't watch half of it because you're not in North America.
Yeah,
So,
or you need a subscription, either one.
well, it's not even that necessarily. I think it's more geolocation blocking, but I would love to have British GT seasons where we can just get a DVD with all the highlights on. I would love that. I'd love to see them doing it this year. I know practically you might not be able to, but it would still be rather nice.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree completely, to be honest. And all the videos on motorsport.radio as well. We've got nearly 6,000 videos as well. All the official videos coming from the official championship websites. So you know that they're all sort of okay, and they will stay on there as long as long as they keep them up there, basically, because they're just links to their own videos. Basically, that's all it is. But they're organised in such a way that it's all nice and handy and lovely to have. Because sometimes, yeah, YouTube's good, but unless you actually know specifically what you're looking for, it's so hard to stumble into other things. Basically, yeah, you might get certain recommendations, but it's never ever perfect. The good thing about other paid for subscription demand services is that everything is organised, and we've tried to do the same on motorsport.radio, and our motto is basically, well, if it's available for sharing, well, we're going to share it from the official channels, of course.
Yes.
But yeah, so check that out, motorsport.radio/video. That's right, motorsport.radio/videos. Yes.
Is there a domain called motorsport.video?
Not yet.
That's one for the list.
Maybe there is. I don't know. I've got a problem about buying domain names. I should stop. I've got an issue.
Is there, without trying to sound too rude, is there such a thing as web domain anonymous? Hi, my name's Lester, and I like to buy website domains, and you get lots of clapping in a circle.
I did recently buy, which I've not really told anyone. Oh, what was the Andrea.moda?
Oh yes,
I bought that recently. Andrea.moda.
Which is in fact a fully working link. I do highly suggest you go and look at that, because it's
you know
a fascinating web page.
Yeah, if you know what I'm talking about, you'll
and especially if you don't know what you're talking about, go and watch it, because Andrea Moda is such a brilliant and fascinating story, which you probably would have heard Perry McCarthy go on about. But I've got some. That reminds me, actually, I need to find that link of that Perry McCarthy interview. That's quite a good one. We should upload that somewhere. I might put it on the motorsport.radio website as a re-upload, because I don't think a lot of people would have seen it, and I think it's quite a golden one, because we do go on about some quite interesting stuff.
All right, so thank you very much, Dan. And with that, we will move swiftly into our set of British F3 interviews. They're so good, I often get them confused. The BRDC British Formula 3 Championship this weekend. Another 3 races in Spa in Belgium. Many of the drivers making their debut in Spa in Belgium as rookies. Some are not. Some are leading the championship and have already raced there last year in another formula. This first interview is one with a driver that you might already know who he is. He is a rookie. He's probably the most well-known rookie, probably more than Jamie Chadwick, I would say, this year. Manuel Maldonado. I caught up with him at the weekend to ask all manner of things about his life, his career so far, and whether he feels added pressure given his name. I'm very pleased to say that joining me via Skype right now to preview this weekend's BRDC British Formula 3 race in Spa, please welcome to the show, Manuel Maldonado. Hi, Manuel.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, so I can see you're nice and relaxed, presumably at home, and you were testing. We're speaking on the Saturday, the Saturday of the week before Spa, and you said you were testing yesterday at Silverstone. How's testing been going and things?
Yeah, it was great. Just doing a few last preps before the race and just getting a few tweaks there and about to see where we can improve, obviously, for the race. And yeah, we're looking forward to the race. It's a good race for me. Hopefully it'll be great. Spa is one of the circuits I've always dreamed to race as a little kid. I always played the PlayStation, and it's like a dream come true. So very exciting for me. So hopefully it'll be good.
It should be, yes. And is it the first time you would have ever raced this weekend at Spa?
Yeah, it'll be the first time I've raced in Spa. But I've been there a few testing, so I know the track. It's an amazing track. The experience, especially Eau Rouge, is a corner that every driver wants to experience, and to be able to do so in F3 cars is unbelievable for me, really. Yeah.
You and the rest of the F3 grid as well. Every single driver before the start of the season, I did ask everybody which was your track that you were most looking forward to, and every single driver said that it was this race at Spa coming up for exactly those reasons, for the obvious reasons as well, because it's a Grand Prix track, Eau Rouge. It's just got so much history and stuff, and I get the feeling that a lot of drivers are going to have a lot of fun around here, Manuel.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a good track. Obviously, great opportunity for overtaking the long straight. So it's going to be good, because it's going to give me a chance to hopefully like in Silverstone, maybe get a reverse grip, reverse pull, and hopefully maybe looking for a podium finish or something, which would be great for me, which is what we've been working for, and all these preps we've been doing lately hopefully will help me achieve those goals this year.
Well, yeah, the last round at Silverstone, it was the midway point in the Formula 3 season of 2017. How do you think you went on at the past three races at Silverstone at the last round?
Yeah, it's been great. Obviously, the first 2-3 races weren't so good for me. I was just getting used to the car, everything. But Silverstone was a big improvement for me. I came in, I've never driven in the GP circuit in my life. So Friday testing was good, a bit of learning over there. And we went Saturday, it was a positive day. We qualified in ninth. Well, we should have been a bit further up, but obviously they need to allow due to track limits, but the pace is there. So it was good. The first race we finished 8th, so gave us a reverse pull for the race after. It was a bit of a shame because I made a few mistakes which costed me a few places, but I guess it's learning. It's my first year, and I expect to make mistakes, Not that I want to, but I'm not going to be so harsh on myself because it's my first year. So that's what I'm here to do, learn and improve every time.
Well, yeah, there's nothing being on it. You got to be honest. Like you said, it is your first year, and there is just like other drivers as well. There is a steep learning curve as well. Racing against other drivers who are enjoying maybe their second season in the championship and maybe know a bit more about the car and a bit more how they handle around certain circuits where you haven't raced at as well. And it's the same learning curve for a lot of the drivers as well this year. Your season overall so far coming into this round, how would you say it's gone to your expectations, perhaps?
Yeah, it's been a good year so far. Obviously, the start of it's different, but the place that we are right now, I'm quite happy. My pace is improving every time, and if I compare myself with the racing drivers that are just the same experience as me, I think I'm quite good, compared to them. And obviously, there's a lot more that got a lot more experience than me, but I think that pace will come as the year goes on, and hopefully next year we'll be able to be up there, top 5, I think so. And this is what we're here to do, because we are next year in F3 again, so it's kind of like a learning procedure this year. So yeah.
And you are definitely doing Formula 3 British F3 again next year, are you?
Yeah, that's the aim so far, and hopefully that's what we did. Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. All right then. So I was having a quick look at your history. Not that you have a large history in terms of number of years racing cars, but yeah, according to Driver DB, one of the usual places where I go to get my facts and stuff. So hopefully that's all updated. But yeah, you actually started out your career in cars, coming out of karting from 2015, having had a couple of seasons in Rotax, Max, and Super One, just like a lot of other people at that age. Your first season was in 2016 in Italian Formula 4. Why there?
It was mostly because obviously coming out of karting, it was the only. We were going to do F4, but we tested the British F4 and the Italian, and I prefer the Italian F4 for many reasons. The tracks and everything, the car, I found it was a lot better than the British one, but it's just personal opinions. But yeah, I think it was a good experience for me. I wasn't in the right team, I would say. I struggled a lot throughout the whole year, but I learned a lot, which is the reason why I kind of came to British F3 was because I think it's a better championship in terms of the Italian F4, and it's kind of it's the same chassis, so I kind of fit it in quite well.
Yeah,
that's great for us.
That's fine. I mean, a few other people have gone the European route before coming into British F3, and a few other drivers as well, Manuel, I have to say, having spoken to them in British F3, have said to me as well in that they preferred to not go to British F4 and either go to another Formula 4 championship somewhere else in Europe, or just wait until, in some cases, they're old enough to wait to get their chance in British F3. So that's kind of interesting. I wonder why that is. I don't know. But I suppose you've answered it, I suppose. But yeah, anyway, and this is your first season in British F3. You're targeting podiums, and I, for one, have been confident that you will probably end up getting a podium at some point. I feel all the time, every time I end up saying that it feels, honestly, it feels like I'm arguing against a load of other people who say something to the contrary. You were featured recently on a viral video involving one of your races at one of the previous rounds at British F3. Do you recognise? Do you notice the amount of scrutiny, the spotlight on your career already?
Yeah, I do, obviously, but I don't think that affects me at all. I try to keep away from that and just keep it real as much as I can and not let it bother me, really. I'm just here to do what I love to do, really, nothing else, this is what I've dreamed of since I was a little kid. Obviously, I've been growing up in a family that's involved in the motorsport, so it's kind of the dream is it's what it is, but I don't let it bother me, the things the common people do or anything. Try to keep it as real as possible. That's what I do, really. Yeah.
Well, I suppose in a funny sort of way, you would have an advantage having an insight into the sort of media scrutiny and pressure and being in the spotlight, and would be in a slightly better way to mentally handle that sort of pressure and scrutiny, because you must recognise that certainly some of your mistakes will get scrutinised more than other people who are also racing for their first season in British F3 as well. Some people who have the same amount of experience, which I think is kind of unfortunate, and is part of the reason I've always said, well, hang on a minute, Manuel is different to whoever else you're comparing him to. He's a completely different driver. Just because he has the same name as someone else doesn't mean he's the same sort of driver as someone else, and I've always said that. So that's my little rant out of the way. I always end up going on a little rant, so apologies. But anyway, tell me anyway, why did you end up sort of getting involved in motorsport in the first place? Because presumably you had options, certainly. Was it always sort of ingrained in your blood from an early age, being around that sort of environment?
I had options. I tried every single sport. My family really didn't. They weren't like looking forward to me doing motorsport because they've been through the whole experience, and it's not easy. So I tried every single sport, from baseball. I tried motorbikes, other sports, but the one I fell in love with was definitely racing. Yeah. I remember my first test in karting. I was about 7 years old, and like my dad took me down to this track that's next to my house, basically, and yeah, the first day was amazing, and I just fell in love with it and just carry on, really. Yeah.
And you did enjoy some success in your brief spell in professional karting, I suppose, in the higher ranks, didn't you? Yeah.
Well, basically, I was a bit unfortunate because when I was driving in Venezuela karting, I started at 8, and then obviously did 2-3 years of karting. It was quite good. I finished second in the national championship. I missed out on the championship by like a point. It was a really good year, fun year. We had a lot of fun karting, especially with some of the drivers that I raced even in F4. Some of the guys who I was teammates in karting, I raced against in F4 Venezuelan guys. But yeah, it's great to move on. But I was a bit unfortunate because when I came to England, I stopped for about 2 years karting, and that kind of put me off a little bit. It's not because I didn't want to, because it was obviously a bit difficult moving to England. But yeah, afterwards I did karting again back in 2012, and I had an accident which cost me a whole year of racing. Couldn't race because I broke my scapula in the back. Wow. And yeah, it was a bit of a shame because it's like quite a lot of years off not doing the things I wanted to do. And yeah, when I got back to it, I did another 2 years of karting, and the last year, back in 2015, I had another accident which broke this thumb and the ligaments, so I had to have surgery in there, and I was off for another year and then I was racing in 2016 F4, just decided to jump into cars. Yeah. So it's been quite rough.
Yeah, that's something I didn't even realise, to be honest, that you had so many injuries, let's say. Didn't even sort of know that about you, to be honest. But that'll certainly it can only add to your mental resilience. And I'm sure you've heard the phrase, whatever doesn't kill you, make you stronger. And in many drivers' cases, that is true, I suppose. But it's great to see you. And ultimately, I think I already know the answer to this question, but what is your ultimate goal in motorsport? Would it be to get to as high up as possible, or?
I think the ultimate goal for every single driver is obviously to get to F1, but this obviously it's quite hard to get there. Everyone knows you've got to have everything put together to get there. So, I mean, that's the dream, but to be realistic, like, I'll happily be a racing driver, like, in GTs if I can to as well. That could be an option as well. So,
is it an option that you already
from now on and see?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt.
Obviously, I've considered every single option because I've got to keep my mind open to any option that comes up. I can't just keep my mind focusing one direction. I've got to see the other ways that I can go to as well. So yeah, that's definitely considered. So.
Yeah, that's it's good to keep your options open, I suppose. Would we perhaps see? I mean, Chase Owen, for example, another Formula 3 rookie this year, racing in. Although he was racing in Formula Ford 1600 last year, so he does know a couple of the tracks. Yeah. But he's already started to sort of dip his toe into doing a few GT. Championship races here and there, especially on the Blancpain bill, and I think he was racing this weekend as well in Imola, I think, and I think maybe he's, although like yourself, his goal is to get to F1. A lot of drivers realise, obviously for many reasons, that that's just not possible. Do you think perhaps next season you could see a possibility of you combining an F3 program maybe with something else, if that would be an attractive package for you?
If I'm honest, like next year it's going to be full focus for F3 because it's going to be a year where I already have the experience, and it will just just compromise and just focus in one championship in order to perform as best as possible. That's what the aim will be. I wouldn't be combining something else. So just try to focus just 100% on one thing in order to do my best. That's what I will do.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Fair enough. That's my question answered. So and talking more sort of personally about you, because I sometimes get the feeling that we don't know the real Manuel Maldonado. You've spoken that you like to do many sports, or have attempted to try many sports in the past, barring various sort of injuries. And I mean, away from racing, what do you actually like to do? What do you sort of let your hair down with? What do you chill out with? What are your hobbies away from racing?
I do many things. I just don't do very sport. Like obviously when I'm outside racing weekends, I like to chill out. Sometimes, my friends will do something fun. Just not focus 100% on racing, because it's nice to have some time off from it, because it can be quite intense. But yeah, I obviously do go out quite a lot with my friends and have a good time. I do enjoy having a good time with my friends. I gotta say, I think that everyone does. So yeah.
Why not? You're a young lad living in Britain, racing in British Formula 3, and why not? Just enjoy it while you can, because
Exactly.
you only live once. Manuel, I'll ask you one final question before I let you go and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Expectations for this weekend at Spa, if you have any at all. What would you? I know you've already spoken about a podium.
Definitely.
So
we'll be aiming top 10 finishes in each race. So that's the aim for the weekend. And obviously, it's going to start from a good qualifying, which I'll be very confident with. It's a track that I love. That I've tested at, and we've actually done quite good in testing. So expectations are going to be quite high this weekend. And, at the same time, realistic. So looking forward to see how it goes.
And I will be there hopefully if I make it across to Belgium, and I will certainly track your progress as well throughout the weekend. So you'll have the added pressure of me sticking my microphone in your face at various points as well, Manuel. So I'm sure you're looking forward to that. So anyway, thank you very much for coming on tonight's show, and we will love to see just how well you do this weekend in Belgium for your first time racing at Spa.
Hi, I'm Callan O'Keefe, and this is Motorsport Radio.
You can have it till you can't take no more. Hi, this is Nick Hamilton, and this is Motorsport Radio.
This is Monday Motorsport with Lester Forbes on Motorsport Radio.
The last half of the season, I'll hit more of a stride, and a lot of the tracks I think that we're going to in the last half of the season will, I guess, suit my driving style a little bit more. Now that I feel more than comfortable with the car and the team, I think I might even have a go at the championship and try and give Edam a run for his money as well.
Do you recognise? Do you notice the amount of scrutiny, the spotlight on your career already?
Yeah, I do obviously, but I don't think that affects me at all. I try to keep away from that and just keep it real as much as I can and not let it bother me, really. I'm just here to do what I love to do, really, nothing else,
Plan and have a good car around there, because in the pre-season they were much quicker than us in Spa. We've got a proper challenge on our hands, so we'll see. I'm sure it'll be good for you to watch and comment on.
I showed up and everyone was like, wow, it's James Pull, oh my god, British F3 driver.
If push comes to shove then, James, would you?
This is Monday Motorsport with Lester Forbes on Motorsport Radio.
And joining me right now via Skype from his home in England, please welcome Formula 3 driver Cameron Daz. Hello there, Cameron.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you? We're talking just days before we're, I suppose, both about to set off to head towards Belgium and Spa You must
Yes.
be absolutely excited.
Yeah, no, Spa's, out of the tracks I've driven at, it's definitely my favorite. Definitely the most iconic track in my book. So yeah, I'm really pumped for it.
Yeah, certainly. Have you ever driven there before, doing any testing or anything, or are you a total rookie there?
No, I had a test there several months back, I believe in March. The conditions will probably be a little bit different for the race weekend, but yeah, I have had a chance to drive on the track.
And what do you make of it?
It's absolutely fantastic. You don't really get a sense of the scale until you're really there. Even driving it on the simulator, you know, the straight feels pretty long, but then when you actually feel the speed and how long you're going down the straight, you kind of realize just how big of a track it is.
Well, I know that we were speaking to Manuel earlier, and he said he, like you, were testing at the track at Spa a while ago. He's really looking forward to it. I think it's a lot of people's favourite one that they're most looking forward to all season. Is that the case with you?
Yeah, it's definitely the one that when I was looking at the championship or doing the championship before the season started, and I saw that Spa was on the list, it was kind of a for sure deal after seeing that, because it's just one of those tracks you don't get very many opportunities to drive on.
And like Maldonado as well, you were testing recently as well at Silverstone in preparation for future rounds as well. How did that go for you?
Yeah, the last Silverstone test was less about Silverstone and more about Spa, actually. So we were messing with a different aero, and so the times were definitely not representative of the race weekend we just had at Silverstone, but we got some really valuable data that I think will carry us a long way for the actual race weekend at Spa.
So will you be? Are you going into this weekend already knowing what exactly you'll be changing, or do you have anything? Can you keep any secrets from your teammates who you will be fighting against for the championship?
Well, if there's any secrets I keep from them, it's more on the driving side. When it comes to setup, we're all hands on deck, and we're all trying to make the three of us faster. So I think we have a couple different things that we want to try as soon as we get to Spa. We have 3 40-minute free practice sessions, I believe, so we have ample time to make changes, make adjustments, get used to the temperatures, whatever it's going to be next week. I think we're really good shape for that.
And looking at the championship after Silverstone, there's been quite a couple of big changes, really. I mean, you have been, I think, on the podium in pretty much every round, almost, very consistent anyway, and which is fantastic considering it's your first season over here in the UK as well. James Pull, I noticed on the F3 Championship standings, has moved into second place, just behind your teammate NM Ahmed, and you are yourself tying for third place with Toby Sowery. So it's Carling 1, 2, 3. It surely now must be getting a little bit more tense having all three teammates 1, 2, and 3.
I suppose it is maybe a little bit, but I mean, James, Enam, and I are all really good friends, so we kind of keep it on the track, and it doesn't really bleed much into the trailer, so to say. But no, it's been really good for all three of us to be up there. It means we're pushing each other really hard. We all have really good data. We're all good at different things, so. I think that's been partly the success this year, or the massive amount of success the team's had this year, is just being able to have 3 drivers that are pushing each other to the absolute limits. So I couldn't have asked for better teammates. I
would say they probably are 2 great teammates. Not knowing myself, but I'll take your word for that, certainly. And yeah, I mean, from your point of view, fighting for the championship, I mean, Enam right now is quite a bit ahead at the moment. Anyway, he's on 310 points coming into the Spa round, and that is near enough, round about 60 points ahead, with only 3 rounds left to go after this weekend at Spa. That's still 9 races. Can be caught. I mean, I don't wish to wish him any bad luck, but certainly he doesn't seem to have had much bad luck so far this season when compared to people who have had bad luck. but again, I don't know where I'm going with that, but I'll certainly wish him all the best luck anyway. Yeah, certainly. I've got the feeling I've just jinxed him. Sorry, Anna.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's luck runs out eventually, I think, but it's more than just luck. He's been really on it this year, and obviously knowing all the tracks, being a second-year driver helps, but I think it's, as I've said before, it's a matter of experience, and I think some of us first-year drivers in the series are definitely going to catch up in the second half of the season, and Spa should be a really good one to do that at, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, doing my research about you, Cameron, and it's probably fair to say that not many people in the European motorsport community might know that much about you. They might know, obviously, that you've come over from America. You were previously racing in the USF 2000 series, and if they Googled your name, they'll probably see your name on the IndyCar website from being on that Road to Indy ladder that you were part of. But who is the real Cameron Daz? That's what we want to know, really. What do you like to do? What do you get up to? What are your hobbies outside of motorsport?
Yeah, so racing started about 2 years ago for me, so that's kind of been a more recent passion, but before that I was really into filmmaking and photography. Education's been a big part of my life for, even up until now. I'm part of a gifted and talented program that is online now. But yeah, I enjoy politics. I don't talk about it much because it tends to polarize people, but I enjoy a lot of different things. But filmmaking is definitely one of the bigger ones.
Ah, well, that's something that we never knew. What sort of, okay, filmmaking. I'm not going to notice I didn't ask you about the politics. Leave that over there. Yeah, there's a... no, anyway, no. And you're filmmaking, anyway. So... yeah, that's an interesting kind of hobby for a driver anyway, because it's kind of time consuming. I've noticed just from turning a camera on and making things happen and filming things and trying to record things and editing as well. What sort of stuff do you like to make?
Well, as of now, I haven't done much filmmaking just because, as you said, it is really time consuming. And racing also is a very time-consuming passion, so kind of have to pick one over the other. But photography is sort of a subset of filmmaking, and being at the track all the time, there's so many different cool things to shoot. And that's resulted in one of my pastimes that I do when I'm not racing. Obviously, racing is still the priority, but it is a really fun pastime.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing some Cameron Daz productions maybe in the winter when you've got a bit of spare time, perhaps.
Yeah, who knows? For sure.
So the rest of the season then, if we can sort of skip past Spa, because I'm guessing if I asked you how you think you'd go, you'd probably tell me that you're going to get another podium and you're going to aim for a win and all the good stuff that drivers say. So the rest of the season... how do you think you'll go? What are you looking forward to the most from the last... It's hard to imagine that we're in the second half of the season already. It seems like it's only just started, to be honest. But second half of the season, here we are. And after Spa, I think it's Brands Hatch, I think?
Yep.
Yeah, so... Yep. And it's quite unusual... to get any testing done at Brands. A lot of the drivers already sort of expressing a bit of worry about their own performance because of the lack of track time there. Is it some place that you've driven at yourself?
Unfortunately, I haven't driven on the GP circuit, which is what we're racing on. I've driven on the Brands Indy, so that'll give me an idea of the first three corners and sort of an idea of the last corner. So yeah, it'll be a little bit difficult because I won't get a chance to drive on that track until the practice session before qualifying or even qualifying. It depends on what the schedule's like. So that'll make it more difficult, but luckily, there's the simulator, which is laser scanned and pretty accurate. Obviously, it's not quite the real thing, but I think if I kind of grind it out in the simulator, I'll get a lot of that, a lot of the knowledge I need of that track before I get there.
Well, that's good to know that you're already sort of thinking ahead towards how to extract the best performance with it, albeit via a simulator and such. How much of your work as a driver in preparation before you go to the track is done in a simulator or on iRacing, for example?
Well, even just the day before I leave for a race weekend, we'll spend anywhere from 3 to 5 or maybe even 6 hours that day on the simulator. And I usually do that with my engineer as well. So we're doing setup changes as well as driving coaching. Just even before the Silverstone test on Friday, I spent, I think, 4.5 hours with my engineer just doing different aero tests, suspension changes, all stuff that was supposed to replicate things for Spa, but at Silverstone. So it's a really big advantage, and a lot of the stuff is applicable to the real car, and it saves us a lot of time, I think.
In terms of how the things that you do change on a sim, how well does it translate into actually the feel on your real car? If you, like you say, spend 4 to 6 hours in a sim tweaking the suspension setup or whatever it is you do, and then you take that same setup or what you think is the same setup and put it on the real car, do you notice that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, the changes are usually, like, say you stiffen up the front suspension, the things you're going to feel in the simulator are usually the same in the real car. Obviously, there are variables like the temperature could be different in real life than when you did it in the simulator, or the wind condition could be a little bit different, and all those sort of things kind of factor in and could change the results, but generally the physics are the same.
Well, I thought I'd ask. What with me not ever being in a simulator or in a F3 race car, so that's why you're here, to give us an insight, really, I suppose.
It's a really valuable tool.
It is, and that's why loads of drivers do it. You are from Baltimore in the States. Yes, the accent is a bit of a giveaway. And but you're living over here while you're racing over here. Is that just temporary that you're living in the UK, or is it more of a semi-permanent home sort of thing?
This year it's been a semi-permanent thing, I'd say. I've been over here more than I've been home. But it really depends on what championship I go to next year. If I'm here again, then I'll definitely stay here. If I'm somewhere else in Europe, maybe, then I'll see whatever's most practical, I suppose. But I've really enjoyed my time here in England so far.
Interesting.
Yeah, the weather isn't so great, but the people are nice, and there's a lot of cool stuff to do and a lot of good scenery. So yeah, I enjoy it over here. Yeah,
the weather. It's currently like raining. Well, this is the best it gets during the summer. So yeah. Hey ho. But I picked up on something that you said regarding next year. So what are you doing next year?
To be honest, I don't know yet, so I can't answer that. But
nothing's confirmed then.
No, nothing's confirmed. There's a lot of different options, and there's seems to be some rumors of emerging F3, GP3 things. So it's hard to really decide where I want to go yet. But I'll definitely, towards the end of the year, start exploring where I want to go next year, and I'm sure maybe you'll see me in something else. I don't know. Nothing's really set in stone yet, so we'll see.
Okay. Fair enough. Sorry, my mind's just working overtime. I thrive off bits of gossip like that. I'm already thinking that we'll probably see you racing in Europe if depending on what Lando does, of course, probably with Carling. But nothing's confirmed, like you say, so I don't want to put words in your mouth. But anyway, wherever you end up, even if it's back here in the UK, in the wonderful weather that we've got, it'll be fantastic to see you racing, because you've certainly brightened up the championship as well, and giving the locals a run for their money as well, having currently level on points with Toby Sowery for third place. It is tremendously close up at the top at the moment in the championship. Is that where you really thought you would be at this stage this year?
I said at the beginning of the season I thought I'd be a top 3 driver by mid-season, and so far I've been in the top 3 the whole season. I've had a bit more difficulty here in the mid-season than I had actually in the earlier season, but I think the last half of the season, I'll hit more of a stride, and a lot of the tracks I think that we're going to in the last half of the season will, I guess, suit my driving style a little bit more. Now that I feel more than comfortable with the car and the team, I think I might even have a go at the championship and try and give Edam a run for his money as well.
Wow, confident words, because Edam seems really set on that. I mean, he's, like I said, he's just, I think he's like 58 points ahead of James at the moment. Anything could happen, especially after I've just jinxed him anyway earlier. I probably shouldn't keep mentioning that. You'll never talk to me again. But yeah, Spa, for me, I've never been to Spa personally, so that'll be a new one on me, as well as a lot of the drivers like yourself who've never actually raced there. So I suppose we'll all have a fantastic time over in Belgium this coming week. And some GT cars are there as well. The Fun Cup's going to be fun, I'm told. And the F3 championship is really, really getting pretty spicy at the moment. Do you see Toby Sowery as a proper championship threat?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, even last year was quite competitive. So this year he kind of started off on the back foot with the first couple of rounds. And definitely it's Snetterton, Silverstone, he's sort of shown what he's been capable of. So he's definitely going to be a contender for the top spot. So he's definitely one to watch out for. My goal is to just keep him in the mirrors the rest of the season, but it'll be really hard to do that. So it's definitely going to be an exciting second half of the year.
And supposing there's, I mean, just a total hypothetical question here. Supposing we're at the last round of the championship, and you, James, and are all on the first, second, and third places on the grid, and it's the last race and the last round of the championship, and it all comes down to this race. I'm sure you'll do everything. It's going to be. Maybe I shouldn't ask that particular question. Don't want to. I'm trying to see. I'm being political, and I shouldn't be political because that's very divisive of me. But what I suppose I'm trying to say is that from a fan's point of view, Cameron, that's something that we would certainly love to see anyway. A championship once again, fantastic British F3 championship come right down to the wire with 3 fantastic drivers, maybe even 4 if Toby can keep up with you guys as well and score a few good number of points along the way. And certainly that'll be maybe a 4-way tie for the championship lead. That'll be nice. You don't have to answer that, by the way, if you don't want to, but I'm just talking out loud. But anyway, Cameron, thank you very much for coming on the show today, and I will wish you all the very best. Of course, I will be watching your every move at Spa, making sure that, and I'm sure perhaps you'll even be on the podium at least once as well.
I hope so.
Thank
you very much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And we will see you in Spa this weekend for the next round of the BRDC British F3 Championship. Cameron, thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you. See you there.
This is Motorsport Radio. This is Motorsport Radio. This is Monday Motorsport with Lester Forbes on Motorsport Radio.
Hello, yes, this is Lester live on Motorsport Radio on Monday Motorsport, and we try and do a live show every single Monday. Sometimes it's not entirely possible due to schedule clashes and whatnot, but yes, thank you anyway for tuning in, and we are right now most definitely live. Unless you're watching this back, then we're not live. But you can still comment and share if you've enjoyed what you've seen and heard so far, which is a fascinating interview with Manuel Maldonado, where I went on a bit of a rant once again about why not to judge Manuel based on, well, his name, basically. And we just heard from Cameron Daz as well, one of the people in the fight for the BRDC British F3 Championship at the moment. He is currently joint 3rd at the moment and doing very, very well, has to be said, because it is all to play for. And coming up, we've got 2 more fantastic interviews, starting off with the championship leader. He leads by 58 points. It's Enam Ahmed. I caught up with him yesterday afternoon, just after we'd watched Lando Norris score a hard-earned and hard-fought podium at the Norris Ring in the European F3 Championship, and I asked him quite a few questions as well. And this one, another quite long interview, but it's very interesting as well. I asked him all sorts of things, from who he is as a driver, as a person, his type of driving personality, and also whether it was a mistake for him, perhaps, to move out of karting at the time when he did. Did he move up the ladder too early? Did that end up hindering him in his career? Hear what he has to say. And joining us right now via Skype on a Sunday afternoon, we've just enjoyed a fantastic Formula 3 race in Europe, where we've watched a couple of people who we know racing and doing very well. Please welcome future FIA European F3 driver and current British F3 Championship leader by almost 60 points. Please welcome Enam Ahmed. Hello, Enam.
Hi, Lester. How are you?
Hello there. Sorry to draw your future already. I have a habit of doing that. You did tell me previously that's where you wanted to go, but more on that later. So yeah, we just sort of enjoyed a fantastic couple of European F3 races. But you're here to talk about, well, you basically, and your championship charge, because this weekend it's Spa, and it's not actually the first time you've ever raced here, because looking through the archives, you actually did a couple of races in the Euro Formula Open last year, I think it was. Yeah, I did in Euro Formula Open, was at Spa, and I was with the DAV team at the time. They're not around anymore, unfortunately, but yeah, I was with DAV, and also then I did 2-3 more races with RP, just to get some experience to learn some of these European tracks. And of course, type of powerful machine might put you in good stead for future formulas as well. That might mean you've already kind of had a bit of a taste of it anyway, but again, more on that later. So, as I said, it is Spa this weekend, and I suppose, like everybody else, they're looking forward to it. Is it the track that you're most looking forward to of the season? Actually, I think Silverstone's probably my favourite track. Spa's close in second. I do like Spa a lot. I think it'll get better. I'll probably find it more exciting when you get into bigger, faster, more downforce cars, because a lot of people tell me as you go higher in the categories, it gets more and more challenging. Not to say that it's not challenging in an F3 car, but anyway, it's a really nice track. Yeah, but I think it's probably going to be the best race of the year, because thinking back to last year with how strong the slipstream is, you can overtake a lot there, so I think it could be one of the best races to watch. Certainly, and it will be. Well, I think you're the only driver of, I think, most of the drivers I've talked to and asked the same question, which is your favourite of the year that you're most looking forward to. You're the only one who's not said Spa is going to be the number one, but still, Silverstone's great. It is the home of British motorsport, and you leave Silverstone and that round with 58 points in your top pocket. Is still what, a long way still to go. Races, you've got the momentum to carry through to the end. Genuinely, it's the first time probably in the year where we haven't had a particularly competitive car there. We did struggle in the practice. I knew looking at the practice times that we were going to struggle a bit in the qualifying. I was really happy to get P2 on one, because me and Toby, I think, were the only people that did so we were 1 and 2. A lot of people did 2 sets of slicks, so I think that's really good. But on the bright side of things, in the last race at Silverstone, we tried something on the car that worked, and it's the first time I set the fastest lap, and we were a lot faster. So I think if we didn't find the solution, we would have struggled at Spa and Brands GP as well. So I'm happy that we at least found a solution. Good. Able to divulge what that solution was, what you changed, what did you do to the car? I don't suppose we just made it faster. Made it faster. There you go. James has a similar sort of technical method of just saying something like that. But well, if it works, it works. Why not? So, In terms of keeping yourself motivated when you're, say, feeling a bit raced out, if that's a proper term, because you've previously raced a couple of different championships, just like Lando, simultaneously in one season, and it might be possible that you'll do that again in future. Who knows, depending on certain things. But how do you keep yourself motivated when the business end of a championship?
Well, I think probably championship, because I'm too scared of losing it. So Toby's really. I never really lose motivation. It's more the fact that you've got to keep sharp all the time, because people are always going to catch you. That's what jumping racing. Like for example, last year I started off really good, and I didn't as I should have, and then so this year one of the biggest lessons I learned is you just got to keep certain, find more time, by yourself, and not going to be one of his strong tracks. Land and have a good car around there, because in the pre-season they were challenge on our hands. So we'll see. I'm sure it'll be good for you to watch and comment on.
I may have a few comments. Yes, at the end of a post. So it's good to see that you're confident, but still remaining humble with the charge expected from Toby and the Lannon cars. So that's good to see, I suppose.
It's good for the championship as well. I think that we need another team to be like strong. I think Lannon finally found their feet at Silverstone, and they genuinely are now. And it was inevitable in this due to the cars. Everyone's going to end up with the same setup.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually going to mention that, just having one driver, as much as we love you, and having one driver just streaking away at the front of the championship isn't quite the crowd pleaser, if I can put that politely.
Yeah.
So.
If I was a viewer, I'd be the same as well. I wouldn't want me.
So, hopefully we can put on a good show this coming weekend in Belgium, but just like every other round. Now, that you are interested in, what other motorsports do you love to watch, or do you try and always make a point of actually an eye on? Well,
obviously I always watch Formula 1. I like actually watching a lot of the junior category races, like F2 and FI, F3. They're always really interesting to watch. I find myself watching MotoGP more now.
Oh, really?
Because my friend Jehan Derivala, who won the FIA race just now, he watches it a lot, and he's a big Marquez fan. So, I've started watching it, and the racing's really, really good.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, MotoGP is in very fine fettle, I suppose. That's doing well. Question about you and your merge between create thing. Do you
Yeah, I think we should get rid of GP3 and put FIF3 there, because it should be 3 renamed F2. When it was, you can kind of see the relation GP3, then GP3 is kind of, so I think they should urge championships. I think that'd be really good, especially now that FIA F3 the amount of drivers is getting smaller each year. So I think it'd be worth the F1 package. Yeah,
whether they get the same that would be interesting to see as well. I mean, maybe they might use some cars or rename GP3 F3 or something. I don't know what they do. But British F3 is to a few name changes as well. That was just a thought. So looking through some of the stats of your career, you came to prominence, let's say, amongst some of the wider public, having been the world karting champion in the end of 2014, I think it was, and you did a lot of national press interviews. You were on Radio 2, I think you were on Blue Peter as well, and some like proper big national BBC programs and stuff. Hopefully that's interest level help and certainly that. It's been very successful. It has to, looking at that's anyway, successful, likened you to
do that nowadays.
Yeah. I had that on part of the an old interview from BBC Sport from the end of 2014, but then I read it on your and I thought, oh well, I wondered if you actually thought maybe you might be the next Lewis Hamilton.
No, not really. It's just that quote was taken from what the BBC like to call me as a news. That's why it's
why this
time when because I won the world and European karting championship in the same, and I got a lot of hype to maybe being the next Lewis Hamilton, but there's quite been called that as well, so it's quite a common title at the moment. But I'm not looking to be the next Lewis. I'm looking to be Sam Ahmed. So let's see if that takes.
What sort of a driver for those who don't even who your success fans that much? What sort of a driver is Ahmed?
I'd say aggressive driver. I like to push things quite a lot, whether it's on or off the track. I like to push myself a lot. With everything, I'm quite a competitive person, so I didn't really like losing that much. And to be honest, the last 2 years of my racing, when I went into car racing, I wasn't as ready as I should have been, and I didn't perform like I should have. When I joined Carlin, Trevor has been since the end of last year, and he's really win the championship for him, and he helps me. When I joined Carlin, it was not so much that the car was better, it's just you can see from past drivers and how much them, like not even Lando. I mean, like Lando was a big help, but also looking at, for example, John Raikkonen, Daniel, all those guys. It's amazing what you can learn.
So they still keep all that data from.
Yeah. I think they have all onboards and stuff since 2003 or something.
Oh. Interesting. Well, that is something interesting there though as well. As you could have been, or maybe, or something like that. I just want to expand a bit on that. For championship and was when that was happening, because you didn't enjoy the amount of success. It's fair to say. Do you?
Well, yeah, I think I died too early. After winning the senior karting, I was just about a year. I was still just about a year younger than Lando, and I think I should have done maybe another year of karting in a senior level before I jumped into cars. because I did jump. I was planning to do another year in senior karting, and then all of a sudden F4 came about, and you could do it. Great idea, so we just jumped straight in. Didn't really prepare for it like we should have, and it showed. The results showed because I struggled in the first half of the year. Then I found my the second half of the year, and I think I was on the podium nearly every weekend after that. And I got fourth Northern European against Nika Kari, and they managed to get a win in the last.
It was true. Say not, admittedly not. It's